Hey guys, so I'm back for another video after like a 7 month hiatus off of YouTube. But I watched probably the most entertaining atheist experience I've ever seen last Sunday, and that was, of course, because Ray Comfort was on. And if you haven't already seen that show, I will put the link in the information bar below because it was entertaining. I laughed, I cried. A lot of different emotions were going on, but I'd like to specifically address or make a comment on Ray's analogy that he made towards the end of the show, which, to be fair, was apparently so stupid that even Ray realized it, and I think he tried to retract it as soon as Russell started to deconstruct it. But the problem is actually that I don't think it was still analogous to the situation that he was trying to describe. Ray basically says, imagine that you're on an airplane, and imagine that this airplane is on fire and smoking, and he's trying to give you a parachute. He's trying to get you to put on a parachute so you can jump out of the plane and save yourself, but you're refusing to put it on. And he made this analogy to Matt and Russell, and the first thing Russell said towards this analogy was that we've checked the plane's equipment, and the plane is showing no signs of going down. It's actually flying exactly how it should be. We don't smell or see any smoke, or we don't see any fire. And this parachute that Ray's trying to offer us, which is God, of course, there's no reason for it if we don't see any signs for the plane to be going down. But after thinking about it a little bit more, it's actually even worse than that because the parachute is, of course, God. But the problem here is that this parachute should have actually been invisible. It is invisible to our eyes. We can't touch it, we can't smell it, we can't hear it, we can't in any way sense this parachute that Ray is claiming he's holding in his hands. Now, when we explain this to Ray, one of the first things that he does is hand us a book that says there's a parachute in his hands. Now, that's not good enough for me to strap on an invisible parachute when I have no reason to believe the plane is going down in the first place. But it actually gets worse than that. I think what would have truly been analogous is if Ray would have just said, or I guess the situation would be better explained to say, to imagine that you're on a gigantic plane and there are thousands of other people on this plane. And each one of those people, aside from Ray, is also trying to hand you an invisible parachute. And most of them justify that this invisible parachute is there by either giving you a book that says it's there or some other weird method of verifying that there's an actual parachute there. But we can't seem in any way to determine whether or not it is. They simply want you to believe that it is. And furthermore, each one of these other people, or most of those other people, will tell you that if you put on anyone else's parachute, invisible parachute besides their own, the Muslim guy will tell you if you put on Ray's invisible parachute rather than his invisible parachute, that it won't work when you jump out of the plane with Ray's parachute on and you pull the cord. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to die with anyone's parachute but his. And so, I mean, I don't think any rational person in that situation would do anything but stay on the plane. Why in the world would you jump off the plane at all? You have no reason to. And so that's essentially where Ray's analogy crashes and burns. No pun intended.